when I didn't know what was being advertised, I was like probably doing dishes or something like that. Yeah. And I heard the song. I'm like, oh, this is a good song. And I looked over and it's got this hot, like upbeat song, this like empowering song, like let's go out there and tackle the run in the morning. And then you look at it and you're like, ugh.
This is why I don't run in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Marketing Team of One podcast, where we have conversations about the issues one-person marketing teams face when trying to meet their goals with limited time and budgets. Now here's your hosts, Eric and Mike. Mike, it's been a while since we've been in the studio. I know I put together a few podcasts that were recorded.
You're just talking to all these famous people, yeah.
You know, so I got connections.
Yeah.
People in high places, you know. It's been a journey. It's been awesome. Thank you so much. Check out the record. A lot of fun combos there. But anyway, I wanted to drag you in here, kicking and screaming.
Yeah. I'll note I was the first one in here today.
That's true. But,
yeah.
Well,
yeah. I was sitting here.
You were when I walked in.
That's contrary to most other sessions.
That's true.
Yes.
I was the late bloomer here.
Anyways.
You had a little brush with internet fame here with a LinkedIn post that you made. I think you've got 28,000 views on this article or this post that you made on LinkedIn.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there was no visuals, which I was shocked as a visual guy. I was like, there's no video, there's no pictures. It was just typing. Like,
I just wrote some stuff.
I hate that. But it was all about ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And how much you are looking at the way they're marketing themselves, they're positioning themselves, not only in their product and the design of the product, but also now they've got a lot of television ads out there that I think we saw in the Super Bowl and all over.
Yeah.
Everywhere. So talk a little bit about some of the details. You're in love with ChatGPT, I think, right? No?
I don't use it anymore.
Oh, wow. Hot take. Okay. Not at all?
No, I can't remember the last time I opened it up.
Interesting.
Probably a month.
A month since you've worked. There's
a
million different tools out there for AI.
There are.
And we're specifically talking about the big, what are there? 3 now that we're going to talk?
3, 4. I mean, some people consider Grok one of them, but I don't. No, I've never used it.
No, I only use it in my Tesla just to make the family laugh. But talk a little bit about what's driving you nuts about ChatGPT. Why'd you turn it off?
I think the big thing was what really started this whole idea was that I thought their ads were just kind of weird. There's like a dissonance to the ad, and the commercial that I'm thinking of most specifically that really kind of tipped it off is there's one where it says, "Hey, help me create a road trip playlist for this whole thing." And I think the dissonance is like there's some parts of it that are really like kind of cool and unique. They're like really showing like the prompt that's given, what the response is and everything. And it's like, oh, this is really helping people solve a real problem. And then there's happy music going on, you know, like who doesn't love a little Neil Diamond for a road trip, right? But like, I don't know if it's out of necessity or as a stylistic change or something like that. The visuals of the video, are kind of dark and almost a little ominous. And I think it was either their style choice or is a practical thing that they wanted to have white text scrolling over it and be able to read all that stuff. You need to have a certain amount of darkness, but there's just this, it felt like the very beginning of a movie that, you know, something bad's going to happen soon because I think maybe there's this established look and feel for these like either horror movies or dystopian future type things where like, and it felt like these people they're taking this road trip, but they're not coming back alive.
Oh gosh.
That's kind of the vibe I got. So I've been thinking about that a little bit, but then I really started thinking about a culmination of other things. I think, I had a couple of people asking me why I started using Claude. And one of the big ones was like, I think at the time I've heard it's gotten better, but like ChatGPT was very like, that's a wonderful point. Yeah, you're 100% right. And like, I know it kind of felt like I'm Gaston and ChatGPT is LeFou and like, I'm just like building me up and like, maybe I'm not as great as, you know, And I know I'm not the genius that ChatGPT was making. And I just kind of, and I follow kind of what's going on in the AI landscape a little bit. I'm not a deep power user or anything like that, but I follow what's going on. And I know that I think OpenAI is using a lot of the playbooks of social media and trying to keep people on the platform. And I think that kind of sycophantic response is trying to build this deeper connection with the tool.
Right.
I just started it, so there's like this dystopian future in their advertising. There's the responses in the interface, and I just felt like I just started feeling really unsettled. So I decided to write a post just saying that ChatGPT's brand is kind of creeping me out.
Creeping you out, yeah. And you I like the fact that I go back to the visual part of it too. Not only the commercials, but you said the UI is just this stark black and white text that's very robotic. You're almost typing into a robot, which we know that's what we're doing. But Claude, of course, in contrast, just look and style wise, is very kind of organic in its color tones. And its, its logo is just kind of a hand drawn little spark, and it's a little bit more friendly, a little bit more human. I think that I find too, that if I want it to actually help me write content, or inspire my writing for content, Claude seems to be a little bit more human, and it pushes back sometimes too a little bit, and when it's making a little bit more of a complex argument for certain things based on what I've fed it before. It doesn't just wholeheartedly agree and say, yeah, that's great, and coming back to things like that. So commercials, definitely, like, there's a better way to do the commercial, because I agree, it is spooky, and we know the robots are coming, and frankly, my kids and other people that I've talked to that are much, much younger, they're terrified of AI because they fear what it will turn their world into. Yeah. And who knows what that means to them. It could be a variety of different things, but there's definitely a threat there that I think that they're just ignoring in their visual tone. And I think of the running one too. Yeah. I mean, I know that they're up in the middle of the morning, it's 4 a.m. or whatever, and they're doing a group run, and it's all great and everything like that. But still, like, there's a better way to show like that time of day, and it's dark and scary. But then they've got this, like, I think I remember that one. I didn't know what was being advertised. I was like probably doing dishes or something like that. Yeah. And I heard the song. I'm like, oh, this is a good song. And I looked over, and it's got this hot, like, upbeat song, this, like, empowering song, like, let's go out there and tackle the run in the morning. And then you look at it and you're like, ugh. This is why I don't run in the morning.
Yeah. I mean, that really, the look and feel. So I think it's really interesting. Just the kind of, there's the practical application of, like, I get parts of it. Yeah. But I mean, the amount of money they're probably paying for this thing, I feel like somebody should be like, hey man, feels a little creepy.
At least address that. Has to come up with their market research. Is what is the audience fearful of? What should I really avoid? In a sense, like when we do workshops, those are things that we ask our clients. Hey, what shouldn't we? What's the third rail we can't touch? Like, don't use this color because that in our industry that means this. It's kind of there needed to be a little bit more awareness around some of that. I don't think that they studied how. I know that there's probably parts of that company that live in a bubble that thinks AI is going to, convert the world into this utopian world. But there's another, maybe majority of the society that feels like it's not, and it will help with some things, but it's going to hurt a lot of other things. And I think that that's where, I don't know, are they leaning into the fact that they know that that's part of the fearful thing, and they're just embracing that as part of their brand?
I mean, some of it really just defies logic to me. I don't totally understand it, because I think they, or they're just, I mean, if you drive through San Francisco right now,
right?
And I mean, we just got off the Bay Bridge,
we were there,
went down to SFO, drive back. You see, I mean, it's always been like every billboard's always been like, oh, I've never even really heard of that thing.
Mhm.
So it's an always software. It's always, right.
Click up.
But now it's like, I mean, it's more like, hey, which one isn't AI? And it's more of almost like a fun game. It's like trying to find a,
slug bug.
Yeah, slug bug, exactly. But they're all, I mean, it's all, I think there's a bubble there, and there's like there's this loop, a feedback loop
For
that
sure.
just keeps coming. And I don't think any people are really breaking out of that. Because like, I don't know, just to take it the next step further, I think there's a lot of, I heard a story today about how someone used the new OpenClaw thing on one of their MacBooks. They wanted to run a social experiment, and they tried to submit to an open source project, and that open source project had set the line that said, like, we're not accepting submissions from bots. We want to make sure that the humans have vetted this and thought through things. And we also don't, as an open source thing, we can't accept a ton of flood of bots just submitting all this stuff. Right. So they rejected this bot's request that was done by an agent on using OpenClaw. And then that agent took it upon itself to basically orchestrate a hit piece on the maintainer of this project, wrote a new blog post, and it did a lot of research on the person, uncontrolled by anybody. Right. So like there's this weird, like, the dystopian future on some of this stuff is happening now.
It is. Yeah.
And your kids, my kids, there's a lot of people who feel that in a way that maybe like some of us who are in it, and we see some of the utility in some of the AI stuff, but like there's like, we're not pushing it to that angle. But I think the kids, and they look at the future and trying to look at a career in the future, and that shit's scary.
I feel for them, because I think that they definitely, there's a valid fear there because of all the unknowns. I mean, that's always fearful for everybody, but that's where I think that I agree with your point, as far as they really need to work on messaging that. And again, you can't go too far into this, like, no, the world's going to be sunny and everything. You're just going to have all this magical time to just lounge by the beach and do nothing for the rest of your life, and it'll be fine. And the robots will take care of everything. That's the other extreme too, is you can't get too sunny with this either.
Yeah.
Maybe focus more on the utilitarian side of this thing, to where it's, I know they're trying to appeal to, no, you can just use it in your everyday life. But that honestly is probably one of the more scarier parts of it, other than what you just illustrated, which is terrifying. Another example that I heard just the other night, I was at a networking event talking to people who are in our industry, and a lot of our work comes from RFPs, submitting RFPs to, when a government or a commission or an agency puts out, they're always looking for, vendors to maybe do a new campaign, or they need a new graphic services company or a new marketing firm. So they'll send out an RFP. Well, here's what's happening now, is that firms like ours are using those tools to now, as were before, the labor that you would put into an RFP took weeks, took hours, took hundreds of hours sometimes, depending on what the requirements were. Now you load all that stuff into an agent, and you can, or a project or whatever, and you can produce RFP or proposals based on those RFPs fairly quickly. So what's happening now? Everybody in the world is now submitting proposals for all of these RFPs. And so we just heard an example this week. Sorry, we have to delay. We had so many submissions. We have to delay our decision another month, another 2 months, another whatever, because now, as in the past, they might have gotten 12 submissions, 12 proposals for this RFP. Now they're getting 60 or 70, and they have to put the due diligence in and look at all that stuff. So now this is another example of where this is going to be a consistent problem, is now the bots are giving people the ability that they didn't have before, where there was almost this natural barrier to these submissions, to where now those barriers are gone, and now
there's a friction built into a lot of things that's
those
actually probably healthy.
Exactly. Now the gears are grinding together, and it's kind of shutting down business in a way. It's kind of an interesting side effect of all that.
I mean, if AI kills RFPs, I think that's a win for society.
It does make the world a better place. Yeah. My world a better place, and yours as well. But, parts of the commerce infrastructure in this world are starting to be sped up, and that's wonderful. But other parts of it in return are being slowed way, way down because of this massive onslaught of all of this content, whatever, proposals, whatever you want to call it. So what's the end game, Mike? What's the prediction here? Where are we going with all this? So where's the sunny end to the story? The sunny end to the or are we AI branding story, or just AI in general? I don't know. I'm just what would your advice be back to ChatGPT? Just get out of the game completely, or I don't know. Like, I think in my mind, there's a certain, I'm going to use Meta and Facebook as an example, right? Like they've had let's just say troubled past, right? Yes. Yeah. How much is their advertising? Like they've tried to build out so many these commercials and everything about connecting people in their Facebook groups and everything like that. Does that change anybody's minds about who Facebook is and what they are and what their intentions are? I'm a cynical marketing advertising guy. Why don't ask me. I'm just saying, for me, it doesn't change anything. No. Right. I think OpenAI is probably past that. They've telegraphed a lot of their things and their tone deafness, and they know that they're seeking this global, domination through AGI. Yeah. And they don't really care. And that's what a lot of this signals to me. Yeah, there's a arrogance for sure. Yeah. That they're just living in that bubble. That's fine. They don't care. They're going to take over the world anyway. Yep. Them and Claude and Anthropic. Yeah. So I guess we just have to live under that and hope that they have our best interest at heart. I don't know. I think there's probably a big case for, don't want to get political, but I think there's a lot of case for our elected officials to pay more attention to this and really see it as something that needs guardrails on it. And because there could be a lot of problems down the road. It's interesting because the Hollywood strike that just happened a couple of years ago was a lot about AI. Yep. And they negotiated no AI for this, no AI for that. Who enforces it? Yeah. It's happening. It's everywhere in Hollywood. It's not being stopped. So, obviously it can't be too overt and obvious. Yeah. Right. But it's going to happen anyway. So, that's a hard thing to that's a whole other. It's a whole other thing. And I'm not qualified to speak to much of that at all, but slippery. But yeah, I don't know. I just kind of moved to Anthropic. I use Claude. Okay. It seems a little bit more just more like a tool and not trying to be my friend. Nice. Which means I can keep it at arm's length and I can kind of dictate the terms of my involvement. I don't want to start thinking about these AIs as another person. Yeah. At all. I want to dictate the terms of things and use it as a tool. And it's an incredibly powerful tool. Talk to me in 2 months, it's a rapidly changing thing. I might be using Gemini more. I don't know. I can't really say. It's a good product, Gemini. Yeah, I like it too. I'm just happy, okay. Happier with the personality, or, I think there's the right amount of personality and the right amount of brand applied to what Anthropic's doing with Claude.
it doesn't creep me out.
Well, that's a good place to maybe stop this podcast. We'll
Sure.
check in 2 months.
2 months. Yeah. Let's say 2 months.
Let's
And we'll
say
talk
2
about,
months. We'll do another one of these. And Mike's State of the Union address on AI will be coming. It'll be just a consistent series, I think, that we'll put together.
by then I'll have an agent that replaces me and just sits here and
just be a robot.
just talks to you. Yeah. Oh, wait, that's going the opposite of what I just said I wanted to do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I fear that because, my acidic interview style with you could result in bodily harm to myself if there were somebody. At least you're in control of your, fists.
Yes.
And don't punch me that often.
Yeah.
But I fear that if the robot's there, all bets are off.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, thanks again, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thanks for another uplifting episode.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Thanks for tuning in. For more information and other episodes, subscribe to the Marketing Team of One podcast on YouTube, Apple, or Spotify podcast networks. You can also chat with us on the r/Marketing Team of One subreddit or visit marketingteamofone.com to learn more.